mentioned that remote control is not easy, but right now, Chinese companies have a big vision to going out for those projects like express railway projects and more construction projects in developing countries via its one belt or one road, those plan.
Yeah.
Thus, how to lead cross-cultural team to be devoted into one project and work towards the same goal.
Yeah.
Because they are coming from different cultural, different education background, even
Absolutely.
different expertise. For example, someone's coming from engineering background, someone's coming from design background, and also those workers, they have less education.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not easy. A lot of the early stages of a project can be done anywhere.
Okay.
When you're defining the project mission, what are you trying to do in business terms? Technically, how are you going to do that? You define the scope of the project. You break that down into work packages. Some you give to the market, some you might retain locally, some you'll do in the host country. So a lot of it doesn't matter where you do that. But when you get to work that has to actually be done on the site, for me, the project client, the project sponsor, the people who are driving the project, as early as possible, should go out to that country, understand the culture, understand the local working practices, make some decisions about, do they have to adopt local working practices? Will a Chinese management style work in Australia? Will it work in India? If it's in Australia, the team itself might be multinational, multicultural. It comes back to those issues of empathy again. The project manager needs to have a lot of skills in understanding cultural differences. But it's not all doom and gloom, because modern technology is actually helping to break down those barriers. I think we all around the world understand each other better. We can see each other, communicate easier. So we understand the cultural differences. We're less offended when people make silly mistakes that could be culturally offensive. So I think we make more allowances now. We're more understanding. And I think people will appreciate it if you just make a little effort to recognise there are cultural differences and demonstrate you've done that. And then if you do make some mistakes culturally, that's fine. Most people will recognise that that's just a slip. You've made the effort, but you've made a slip, so that's fine. But it puts a lot of pressure on the project management team to be very sensitive to those differences and plan very carefully in the very early stages of the project, so they understand exactly what market they're going into and what the implications of that are. The worst thing you can do is leave that until you're already ready to move out to that country and then start thinking about it. That's far too late, because you've probably made lots of mistakes already that will be difficult to correct at that stage.
Yeah, so from your personal experience as a project team leader, and we say if a Chinese company would like to do in some projects in Africa, so when the top leadership should be going over to Africa, to that country, to start their analysis, start their research.
Yeah. As early as possible, at the very early stage, when there's an initial concept for a project, that's the time people need to go out. Some people call it the project shaping stage.
Okay.
It's when you haven't even got as far as sanctioning the project, so no money has been committed. You have to spend a bit of money to go and get that familiarization.
Yeah, for what kind of areas, for example, need them to be more familiar with their targeted market?
You can do lots of research about different countries. I mean, I've just been to Zambia for the first time. I've never been there before. So I did some research. I read about I flew to Lusaka and then went south for 2 hours into southern Zambia. But whatever preparation you do, it's never the same as actually going to the country, talking to the people, getting a feel for the culture, the way things operate in those countries. You have to go there and be there and talk to the people and understand those differences, I think. So you need to go and do that right at the very early stages. Be prepared to spend the time and the money doing that. And if necessary, pull out, don't do the project.
Okay.
If you find things where you think it's going to cause problems, just don't do the project or do it somewhere else. Because if you go in knowing there are issues, that you haven't addressed, they will come back and cause you problems later.
So you mean that the project leader should be more familiar with from like politics, economy,
The
culture,
local politics, yep,
religion?
all of those things.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, politics, absolutely. If it's a major construction project and you're going as a foreign company into another country to do a major infrastructure project, there will be local politics, there will be national politics, and you can get caught in the middle of all of that if you haven't gone and spoken to people. So maybe a senior manager from China going to Australia or India or Africa, go and talk to the local politicians, go and meet some of the government officials if it's a major project, and have those discussions, see what the sensitivities are. It's really part of managing the stakeholders, meeting the people, and that's a key aspect of projects. So.
Yeah, also nowadays, some Chinese companies, they are getting defensed in some countries. They said that we are going there to help to build something.
Yeah.
But actually the local people say, no, we do not need you at all.
Yes.
So what happened over there?
Well, they probably didn't do what I've just been describing.
Yes.
But there are also myths built up, and I won't talk about China, but other countries who've done similar things. They've sometimes exhibited some fairly sharp practices, that they've deliberately gone in with low bids because they want to go into that market. And major projects, they artificially push the price down, so they win the contracts. And then, of course, once they've won the contract, they've upset all the local companies who might have done it. And then subsequently, there's lots of change orders appear, and the price actually goes up and up and up, and they make their money anyway. So I'm not talking about China explicitly there, but there are lots of examples where those things have happened with multinational companies going into other countries and upsetting people, intentionally or otherwise, by some fairly sharp practice. So if you do all the preparation properly, you recognise the way the local market works, you go in with a realistic price, a fair expectations, then everything should be okay.